we've had it, and we often laugh about these stories, where the bees are stinging you so badly, you're digging your hands in the soil to get it away from them, or you're running a mile. The work still needs to get done.
Quite a controversial thing I'm going to ask you about now. So stay tuned to it, and we'll touch on something now which is quite hectic. There you go. Welcome. Glad you guys could join us for another Coffee with Kristie. What are we going to talk about today?
I don't know. I suppose, what does it take to become a beekeeper?
Yeah, hot on the topic at the moment. Often this time of the year where people are gearing themselves up, getting ready for preparing for the pollination season.
And also in KZN at least, the blue gum flow is imminent. And if you're up in Transvaal, you may be preparing for the aloe flow. So yeah, I think it's different depending on what type of beekeeper you're wanting to be. So if you're going to be just a backyard beekeeper, have a couple of hives in your yard or whatever, the requirements are obviously quite a lot less than if you're going to be a commercial beekeeper.
Yeah.
And if you're going to be a commercial beekeeper doing honey, or you're going to be a commercial beekeeper doing pollination, those requirements will be different.
So for today's purposes, let's talk about a commercial beekeeper. We'll touch on the backyard beekeeping expectations in another video.
Cool.
But I think for commercial beekeeping, it's a totally different ballgame.
It is. It takes a lot of planning. Your planning has to be spot on, and you need to have an understanding of the environments that you're working in. In KwaZulu-Natal, we've got climates from the Drakensberg Mountains where there's snow, all the way through to the border of Mozambique, where it's hot as hell all year round.
Like subtropical forest, to like
dunes,
mountain grassland.
Yeah, so we've got a whole diversity
down to the south coast.
And each one of those areas has different requirements, different flows, different vegetation that's going to provide honey flows and food, etc. So I think I always said, if you're going to become a commercial beekeeper, you almost also need to become a botanist, so that you understand the plants and stuff as well. So so that's one of the first things. And once you understand all those, then you can plan better.
I don't think it would be a prerequisite. You figure it out when you go along.
Yeah,
we were lucky when we started off in the beekeeping industry. We both got game ranging backgrounds.
So we both had very good knowledge of plants and
bush
stuff
and how the ecosystems work and all that. And that has certainly helped you in your biobank kind of theme that you've set up with your commercial farmers. But in terms of a beekeeper who is he's not interested in running his own company, but he wants to come and work for a commercial company. What would be the key traits of such a person?
Well, let's start off working as a beekeeper full-time in a commercial enterprise. You're going to work very unusual hours. It's not an 8 to 5, or 9 to 5, whatever they call it. If you're moving hives, it's late at night. If you're doing bee removals, it's late at night. And oftentimes you're required to start really early, because especially in KwaZulu-Natal, it gets so hot in the middle of the day.
Yeah.
So you end up working, say, from 4 in the morning until around 10, 11, and then it gets too hot. You can't work anymore.
Yeah.
So then you go and rest in the day. You have your little siesta. Maybe you turn into a Spanish person. Yeah. Have your siesta. And then you'll work again, say, from 3 until maybe 6 or 7 at night when it gets cooler. So you need to be flexible. And I always say, to be a beekeeper, you have to be very strong in your mind, because to overcome the heat factor, the uncomfortableness of being in a bee suit, being stung, and still being able to do the work that's required.
Yeah.
You need to be very strong in your mind, and you can't let negativity or a negative experience affect your working. At the end of the day, we've had it, and we often laugh about these stories, where the bees are stinging you so badly, you're digging your hands in the soil to get it away from them, or you're running a mile. The work still needs to get done. You've traveled all the way there, so you've got to be able to compose yourself, get a grip, and then go back and do what needs to be done.
Yeah.
And then obviously also being very tired can play a huge role in that. So and sometimes there's not time for a set, say, lunch break. If you're moving from place to place doing work, you eat on the go, you chat, you drink your cool drink on your way. You make sure you've got a plan so that when you get in your vehicle and you've got a day's work ahead of you, everything is with you that you need. And keeping hydrated and all that is also so essential.
Yeah, I think to a large degree it is like the overlanders, the guides that take tourists overlanding, and they go from the Kruger Park up into Mozambique or Zimbabwe or wherever they go. Yeah. And it's it becomes like a lifestyle, because especially if you're a commercial beekeeper on the road, you're kind of living the job, but there are those gaps in between that you go along and say, okay, this is my time slot that I'm going to go now rest.
Yeah.
And you make the most of it, and you go flat out to have a kip during that time. And
those were my favorite times, working as a commercial beekeeper right in the beginning when we first started. I mean, I was away from home 2 weeks a month.
Yeah.
Traveling around. I lived out of a suitcase.
We had two little kids.
Our kids were like 4 and 6.
Yeah.
So I mean, it was quite hectic.
Yeah.
But that middle of the afternoon when it's hot as hell and you can't work anymore, going and lying at a dam, having your lunch, jumping into the dam, having a swim. You've that's the thing with being a beekeeper. You need to take the opportunities when they arise to enjoy.
Yeah.
Enjoy being out there. I mean, at one of the dams, we sat the one day watching a Goliath heron. For hours. For me, that was wow. Like that's like going to a game reserve and doing some birding. So I think you need to love being out in nature. You need to also just understand, like, just take those moments. Tracy and I once went on a trip and we went past a beautiful waterfall.
Okay.
And we stopped and jumped in and had a
embrace
the moments, because if you don't take those 5 or 10 minutes of just living and enjoying where you are, what you're doing, it's not a job for everyone. It's that simple.
There's quite a controversial thing I'm going to ask you about now. So stay tuned to it, and we'll touch on something now which is quite hectic. But before we get to that type of thing, when it comes to being out on the road, you're getting to see a lot of the country. Especially if, for argument's sake, we had a beekeeper that was living in Gauteng and moved down to KZN and went along and got to see the whole province, because we operate mainly in KZN. Yeah. We do go into a bit Eastern Cape and into Mpumalanga and perhaps the Free State in future and stuff like that. But so you do get to see a lot of the countryside. And I think you've got to use that, because it is very much, we relate a lot to it, like the game ranging industry, where you get to experience a certain area, working in that area for a couple of years or two. If you like it, you stay along there. If you like, well, okay, I've maxed out on my experiences now you go to the next area, type thing. So to a large degree, you get to experience a lot of the countryside, what the country has to offer, beautiful sites. I mean, some of the farms that we go to are absolutely, like you talk about that, those dams that you go and visit.
Well, I mean, I went with the team to Underberg a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
And on their farm, there were cranes.
Yeah.
Like all over. And I said to the farmer, my goodness, where are these from? And he said, they live here. There's about 12 of them. They're always around. Wattled cranes and blue cranes. And I was like, what? For him, it's normal. Like, those are things that you don't see just anywhere.
Yeah.
That's why I say I think an appreciation of nature and being outdoors is so important if you're going to be a beekeeper.
100%. And we had one of our beekeepers that actually took a fishing rod for bass fishing along the way. What's a fishing rod for? You go catch him with a no. When he stops over at that farm, the farmer said to him, next time he come,
he can go bass fishing.
You go catch some bass, and it's obviously catch and release and stuff, but having a bit of fun while you're there on site is part of the whole thing.
But I think maybe it's something that needs to be in every job.
Yeah.
It's just being able to be grateful for the little things and being appreciative of being able to work outdoors and not have to sit behind a desk.
Yeah.
For some people, maybe that's their thing. But there's a lot of people who don't do well indoors all day, every day.
Yeah, 100%.
And so beekeeping would be the way of life for them.
So what would be your ideal, so if you had to employ a beekeeper into your company now for commercial purposes, I mean, what would be the criteria be? Physically fit?
Yes, physically fit.
Why? Why is it physically fit? I mean, you're just looking in a couple of hours.
No. You've got to, it's a lot of, my friends and I used to joke that when I was doing permanent beekeeping, I'd do like 100 squats in a day.
Yeah, okay.
You're bending down to hives, up, down all day long. Also, sometimes you have to be able to lift those hives, and they can weigh anything from 30 to 60 kilograms if you're loading them. So you need to have a back that's physically strong. Your arms need to be physically strong. And then I think also a positive attitude. That's the main thing.
Yeah.
And you can't have, most of our teams work in teams of 2. You cannot work well if you are a selfish person.
Yeah.
You have to be open, considerate, giving.
As a team member.
Because often if you've got someone who joins the team who's selfish, it breeds selfishness. It's like, that's my coffee. Oh, that's also mine, and it just, so it's got to be, we are a family business, so we look after our staff like they are family, but it's a give and take. So,
and I think to a large degree, a lot of our beekeepers or our staff in general, are very closely knit, and they're
all friends.
Yeah, and if someone goes along and steps out of the line, they go and say, "Hey, come on, you're actually messing up the system here."
Yeah.
Foot in or foot out type thing. So it's very important to have that good relationship within the business, because it can get, like you say, especially if there's two of you, you're out on the road for a long time, and you're going to be a very self-centered person. You're going to find it pretty difficult after a while, and your partner.
And everyone needs to pull their weight, We've had incidents in the past where one beekeeper's doing all the lifting and the other one's just loading the vehicle each time, and eventually the guy who's always lifting is like, "Hey, dude, I'm not doing that anymore. You've got to do it now." Whereas if everyone's working together, it makes it a lot easier to cope when it's really hard. When you're hot, when you're sweaty, when you're tired, and you still got work to do. If you've got a good friendship and a good relationship, it's important.
The other factor is being, like you said, mentally strong. I mean, I can relate. I consider myself mentally strong with a lot of things. Being a game ranger, walking up to lions and leopard, and
either that or
and buffalo.
That thing that makes you scared is broken.
Yeah, they say that scared meter is broken. But it's a totally different entity when you servicing commercial hives, especially like where we work up in Zululand. Those bees are insane. And I go up to those hives. It's not that I can't handle it. I probably could, but I don't like it. And I think I don't like that in my head the whole time. Some people enjoy it. Some people will go along and that's their hum, type thing. So I think in terms of mentally strong for the job, this is what we're doing, getting on and doing it and stuff like that. And saying, well, it's a hot day, yes, but you know what? Over my break, I'm going to go for a nice swim, and I'm looking forward to going for that swim in the dam, whatever it may be. So I think psychologically, you need to be geared up for the job. Hey, we always go along and we joke about it, and we say our beekeepers we'll send them to Zululand. If they can survive that, then they can stick. Hey?
That's true.
So
it is hard work, but it's extremely rewarding.
Yeah, there was also another case of there's a lot of with a hive tool. Hey, I mean, at one stage you had what was it called in your elbow?
I had I can't remember what it's called, but I couldn't move my arm.
Yeah,
they said it's like tennis elbow, but it wasn't. It was Anyway.
But I mean, that was literally a hive tool doing 100 hives over a day, and you're cracking frames. That also, but so you can get physically strong in the arms and stuff like that. It's your muscles.
No. My boys like to say that, Mom, let's compare muscles.
Okay. And what else would you say is a good trait to have? Because I mean, if someone out there thinks that they're a right candidate, and let's say now you say, I want to go out there and become a commercial beekeeper. I want to go and work for Bushveld Bees.
Oh, yay.
What must they go along? Okay, I mean, they can contact you. Your details are down at the bottom there. We've always got positions available for people with the right attitude. I go along and say the most important factor is attitude.
100%.
But we
can teach beekeeping. We can teach you how to do the job. But unfortunately, attitude can't be taught. If someone has a bad attitude towards work or
life
towards life in general, there's nothing you can do about that. But if you've got the right attitude and the positive attitude,
you want to do it.
You don't have to be a beekeeper to become one.
And what else, if they want to go along, how essential is something like a driver's license?
Well, it depends on what position you take. We've got some beekeepers who don't have driver's licenses. They just do beekeeping work.
They will be the passenger in the
vehicle. They would be the passenger, and then we've got obviously the driver. A driver is much more valuable than someone who can't drive, obviously. But I mean, that's also a life skill. If you can drive, there's a lot of options for you. So but I think the biggest thing is finding people who fit our family ethos. We work hard. We work damn hard. Both you and I, as well as our teams.
And we've been there. We've done it. So we've done every the physical work ourselves. Out in the field, with every single job. We will not let any of our staff do a job that we're not prepared to do ourselves.
Yeah, sure.
And I think that's a lot of entrepreneurs do that with their staff. They go along, and a lot of entrepreneurs started their businesses exactly that way. They went out, they did the stuff in the field. And then they went along and said, okay, let's bring on one person just to make my handlanger. And the handlanger learned and got experience and became qualified. All of a sudden, now they've got it qualified. And then they bring someone else on. But eventually, as an entrepreneur, you start moving out more into the business environment where you have to deal with certain contracts, or you go out to see clients. I know that's your favorite time. You love going to go and visit your clients. Or doing with the books year ends at the moment. It's end of February, the beginning of March now, so we've just done year end stuff. It's insane. But those people start moving into those roles, and we start stepping out. That's a natural progression of the entrepreneur. But from time to time, we like to get back in the field, and we'd never expect anyone to do the work that we don't do.
Exactly. Yeah. If you believe that the beekeeping life is for you, then click on the link below and send us a message.
contact. You got an email address as well if you want to send your CV. Huh?
Yeah, sure.
Fantastic.
Make sure that your CV is accompanied with a lovely letter telling us a bit about you and why you are the best person for a job.
And you never know, you might be joining us here at Bushveld Bees in KZN. Fantastic. Looking forward to hearing from you. If you've got any other comments, put it down below in the comment section. Tell us what you think would take to be a good beekeeper.
Maybe there's something that we missed out.
Yeah, fantastic.
Let us know. Yeah.
Excellent. We'll see you later.
See you. Bye. I just had a freaking epiphany.
What?
Again.
I'll turn on silent.
Yes. Yes.
Right, coffee with Kristie. Cut.
Cut.
Running out of